Hey guys, welcome to the channel. So in today's video we are gonna see, what if Ash got paralyzed and saved by Pikachu, movie. Before starting, if you are interested in Pokemon fanfictions, you can consider subscribing this channel and like this video, that will help a lot. Now let's dive in. Here's a short summary. Ash and Pikachu always go on adventures together to spend some bonding time. However, they manage to get into trouble and Ash becomes paralyzed. There is no one to help take care of Ash except Pikachu. Ash has always been there for Pikachu when he needed help. Now it is Pikachu's turn to care for Ash and take on the responsibilities. Now let's get to the story. There they were, the small town known as Pallet Town, located in the Kanto region. A young teen who wants to fulfill his dreams of becoming a Pokemon master is off exploring a nearby forest where it is filled with life. This 14-year-old boy is named Ash Ketchum, who always brings his loyal electric mouse Pokemon Pikachu alongside him in his adventures. Ash and Pikachu are partners as well as best buddies who would do anything for each other. They are out running through the deep forest where they can see lots of wild Pokemon roaming around. Ash thinks it's a great idea to take a break here and there to relax and enjoy nature. "Come on, buddy," Ash yells to his best friend, "we're almost there." Pikachu catches up to Ash's pace and they both continue down a narrow path to the center of the forest. They finally see a clearing up ahead and stop to look around. "Here we are, Pikachu, the center of the forest," Ash says in excitement. The center of the forest has a giant lake surrounded by little plants where there is grass and bug-type Pokemon all eating off the plant's fruit. Pikachu and Ash gazed at the lovely sight and decided to go to the lake and play. "I'll race you there, buddy," and Ash took off running as fast as he could to the lake with Pikachu following closely behind. "You won't beat me running as slow as you're going," Ash taunted. This made Pikachu fire up inside and turned his running into his quick attack move, which he quickly dashed past Ash. "I'm not letting you off that easily. Here I come," Ash shouts, trying to catch up with Pikachu's lightning speed. They were almost to the lake and both Ash and Pikachu saw the water and used their full might to get there. Ash was determined to beat Pikachu, so he let out all his energy and sprinted towards him. He could now tell that Pikachu was getting tired and was starting to gradually slow down. Ash then caught up to Pikachu and was about to pass him when he realized that he wasn't looking where he was going. He then saw a giant Vileplume in front of his tracks and could not stop running. He then crashed right into the Vileplume, which he fell to the ground. "Pika-Pie," Pikachu called out to Ash. "I'm okay, buddy, thanks." Ash then turned his attention to the giant Vileplume, who obviously noticed Ash crashing into him. "Whoa, check out the size of that Vileplume. It seems to be larger than a normal one," Ash observes. Suddenly, the Vileplume walked closer to Ash and let out a large stun spore attack, which shot up into the sky and the mist started to come down. "Pikachu, run. Don't breathe in the stun spore," Ash warned and quickly took off running the other way. Pikachu followed behind as the aggressive Vileplume took off after them. Not only was it large, but also quite fast, as it was able to catch up to Ash and Pikachu. Vileplume then used Toxic on Ash, sending poisonous projectiles straight at Ash. "Pikachu, use Electro Web," and Pikachu did as he was told, firing a ball of electricity to counter the incoming projectiles, which it destroyed. They kept on running from the angry Vileplume that followed them now into the deep forest. As they kept on running, they began to lose sight of the Vileplume that was chasing them, where they eventually stopped to rest. "Pikachu, are you alright?" Ash panted. "Pikachu," replied Pikachu in agreement that he was okay. "That was a close one. I thought it would never leave us, Aloe." Just as Ash said that, the giant Vileplume appeared right behind a large rock and shot out another large stun spore that rained down onto Ash and Pikachu. "Pikachu, don't breathe it in," yelled Ash and quickly jumped on Pikachu and covered his mouth from the gas. Ash huddled over Pikachu, trying to protect his friend. The gas became very thick, which fogged Ash's vision. Ash began to feel dizzy and drowsy from the gas that consumed the air. "Pikachu, you'll be okay," Ash struggles to say as he starts to feel extreme pain in his lungs, which he heavily coughs. Ash's body can no longer take the extreme amounts of gas that is damaging his lungs, which causes to blackout. When the gas finally clears, the Vileplume is gone and Pikachu is still hiding inside Ash's hands. When he then sees the gas is gone, Pikachu notices that Ash is lying and not moving, which makes him worried. "Ashes, wake up. Please get up. Are you alright? Say something," Pikachu yells in his language. With Ash completely passed out, Pikachu runs back to Ash's house for help, which is conveniently close by. Pikachu runs by the house and sees Delia, Ash's mother, who is packing up her suitcase outside with her helper, Mr. Mime. Pikachu runs up to Delia and yells, "Delia! Ash is in trouble, he won't wake up. Help me." Which of course, Delia is only hearing Pikachu say his name in various ways. "I don't understand you, Pikachu, is something wrong?" Delia questions. Pikachu then runs back to Ash with Delia worried and decides to follow him. Delia notices that Pikachu is taking her to the deep forest where Ash decided to go and then realizes that there must be something wrong with him. She then sees Ash down on the ground, not moving or breathing. "No, what happened? Please Ash, speak to me," yells Delia with no response. Delia knows now that this is serious and decides to carry Ash to the nearest medical facility, the Pokemon Center. Pikachu follows Delia, worried and protective over his best buddy Ash as they desperately run to seek help. Ash wakes up hearing the noise of a heart rate monitor and ambient noise of the Pokemon Center. He slowly tries to open his eyes at the bright light he sees on the ceiling. He can now see Nurse Joy checking his heart rate and looking at medical screens. He tried to speak, but all that came out was MMMRRRRR, which Nurse Joy hears. "Oh Ash, you're awake. Thank goodness for that," Nurse Joy cheers. Ash then tries to get up, but for some reason, his body will not allow him to. "You have been stunned by a very strong stun spore which has caused your whole body to go paralyzed," the nurse explains. "Luckily, I have given you a shot of the antidote for stun spore." Ash coughs a few times and finally says, "That's great, Nurse Joe." Nurse Joy cuts him off. "However, since your muscles have taken in a significant amount of stun spore, I'm afraid it will take you quite some time until you can fully recover." Ash thinks about what Nurse Joy said for a moment, not knowing exactly what to think. "Oh, I think I understand. Hey, where's Pikachu?" Ash suddenly questions. "Your mother and your Pokemon have been waiting here all day in the lobby," answers Nurse Joy. "I need to run a few more tests before I can let them see you. For now, just rest up." "All right then," replies Ash, and soon he dozes off to sleep. Back at the lobby, Pikachu and Delia are impatiently waiting and worried for Ash's well-being. When Nurse Joy approaches them, Delia instantly stands up with Pikachu hiding behind her. "How is he? Please tell me that he is all right," Delia says in a worry. "He is sleeping right now, but he is breathing fine," Joy replies. "That's wonderful. Can I please see my boy?" Delia desperately requests. "Of course you can, just keep it down as he is sound asleep. Follow me please," Joy says while Delia and Pikachu rush close behind. Ash is in a deep sleep when all of a sudden he hears a close whisper, "Pika-Pie." Ash makes noise and slowly opens his heavy eyes to see a blur of yellow on his chest. As his eyes adjust to the bright lights of the room, he can see that it is Pikachu on him with a worried look on his face. Delia then walks over. "Ash, you're awake. Thank goodness you're okay. You have had me worried sick," Delia says in delight and gives Ash a gentle hug along with Pikachu doing the same. "Thanks Mom, I'm happy to see both of you," Ash slowly says. "He will be all right, however when he is ready to go home, he will need a wheelchair," mentions Joy. "What do you mean?" asks Delia. Pikachu is also curious about Ash's condition and twitches his ear. Since Ash has encountered a large amount of stun spore in his body, it will take some time for the vaccine to completely get rid of all of it, said Joy. "For now, Ash is going to be paralyzed for a little while. My guess is he should be able to move again in 5 days or more. But how will I take care of him? I was just getting ready to leave tomorrow for an important business trip with Mr. Mime, and I won't be home for a week," worries Delia. Do you know anyone who can take care of him? Perhaps one of Ash's friends?" says Joy. As she mentions this, Pikachu looks at Ash in his condition and realizes that his best buddy is in need of care. "Ash needs my help. He has always been there for me when I needed help and now he needs help. I can't let him down," Pikachu thinks to himself. Delia then attempts to call some of Ash's friends. She first calls Misty, who is worried for Ash but could not take off work at the Cerulean Gym. Delia then calls Brock, who is a professional Pokemon doctor but informs that his week is stacked up full of patients who need medical attention. Delia realizes that those are Ash's only friends that live close enough to get to Pallet Town that night. Delia worried as she tried to think of other people who could take care of Ash. Suddenly Pikachu tugged Delia's dress. "I will take care of Ash," Pikachu tries to say. Delia of course did not understand what he was saying. However, Nurse Joy looks into Pikachu's eyes and can tell what he wants. "I think he is saying he wants to help Ash," concluded Joy. Delia looks over to Pikachu, who was looking back at her with a loving smile. "Pikachu, you would do that for my Ash?" He then nods his head and gives a caring, "Pikachu," comment. Delia adores the kind offer but is still worried for Ash if Pikachu has what it takes, but then again, she really has no choice. She finally says, "All right Pikachu, I trust you that you will take good care of my Ash while I'm away." Pikachu smiles at this and runs back to Ash. "Sweetheart, since no one is available at the moment to look after you, Pikachu has decided that he wants to take full responsibility in helping you get well," says Delia as she pets Pikachu on the head. Ash is stunned at this news and looks at Pikachu. "Really buddy? You want to take care of me?" Pikachu sits down on his chest and smiles. "Of course I will Ash," Pikachu shouts with joy. "All right then, it's settled. I will walk you guys home and I will probably leave as soon as you're settled inside," announces Delia. "Okay then, I will prepare a wheelchair and all of Ash's essentials to help him get adjusted to being unable to move," says Joy. About half an hour later, Ash was up in his wheelchair with Delia walking him and Pikachu home. Pikachu was about to embark on a whole new adventure in taking care of his own trainer, Ash. After the long night, the sun finally dawned. The sky turned from pitch black to dark blue, which made the morning Pidgeys and Spearows sing in their flocks. Ash is now home, sound asleep on the couch in the living room. His wheelchair is left right next to him and all of the hospital supplies including medicine, berries, and crutches for later use. The moment Ash begins to wake, he forgets that his body was still paralyzed. Ash suddenly began to breathe heavily and his relaxing turned into fear when his arms and leg muscles would not respond nor could he feel them. Ash was very frightened and started to panic and his head started to twitch. He moaned in discomfort. His condition took him by surprise. Then he heard, "Pika Pie," and felt a soft, warm paw, gently touching his face. He feels the warm, gentle strokes that tingles his head and back and starts to relax. Ash finally opens his eyes and sees Pikachu petting him softly. "It's okay Ash, I'm here, there's nothing to worry about," whispers Pikachu. Although Ash can only hear Pikachu language, he can still tell what he is saying as their bond for one another has made Ash understand him from his heart. "Oh Pikachu, that feels really good, thank you buddy," Ash compliments. Pikachu smiles at him and makes himself comfortable by sitting on Ash's chest. "So Ash, are you hungry? Do you need me to get anything for you?" Pikachu asks his best friend. "Well, I'm kinda hungry if you know what I mean," Ash answers. As soon as he said this, Ash's stomach began to growl, which made Pikachu chuckle. "I know that noise too well, Ash. Delia made us some lovely pancakes for us right before she left." Ash stiffly turned his head over to the kitchen where he saw 2 plates of pancakes with syrup and butter on top. He could smell the warm and sweet taste of the pancakes that made his mouth water. Pikachu looked at Ash and knew that he wanted them, so he hopped off Ash and ran up to the table where he climbed the chairs. He then put one plate on his tail and grabbed the other with both paws. Pikachu noticed that the plate on his tail was heavy, so he cautiously jumped down from the table and put it on the floor. He knew Ash couldn't reach the food from down there, so he found a cardboard box and pushed it next to the couch. Finally he lightly hopped onto the box with the Ash's plate and lifted it on his chest. "Wow! This looks great. I'm gonna eat these things so fa." Ash was interrupted by Pikachu, who had an angry look on his face. "Ash! You must eat slowly or you will choke," yells Pikachu. Ash frowned when he heard this but knew that Pikachu was only trying to help him. "All right buddy, if you say so," mumbles Ash. Pikachu smiles again and quickly grabs his own plate and sits with Ash to feast. Pikachu takes one bite of the pancake and squeals with happiness. "This is so yummy." Pikachu looks over at Ash, who cannot use his arms to eat the pancakes and instead tries to reach it with his tongue. Pikachu sees this and grabs the pancake and feeds it to Ash, who viscously takes a bite out of it and quickly swallows it. Pikachu is surprised by his aggressive eating and stares at him for a moment and then laughs. "Wow, I'm so used to feeding you, who knew I would be getting fed by you Pikachu," Ash jokes. The two continue to eat until there is nothing left but crumbs on their plates. As soon as Pikachu and Ash polished both plates, Pikachu took the plates away and put them back onto the table. A few hours passed with Ash resting a little more when he awoke and felt the sting of boredom hit him. Ash looked over to Pikachu, who was looking at old pictures on a shelf. "Hey buddy, I'm awake," Ash calls out to his little friend. Pikachu looked excited and ran over to Ash in delight. "Hi Ash. How was your nap?" Pikachu says with excitement. "Great buddy. I feel so much better now, except I wish I could move around. It's getting kinda boring sitting here doing nothing," Ash mentions. Pikachu sat and thought for a moment, thinking of how to help Ash cure his boredom. Pikachu then has an idea and jumps up. "I have a great idea. How about we play hide and seek, only I hide and you look to find me?" "Sure buddy. I know you have always been a good hider," Ash excitedly answers. Pikachu then proceeds to hide in various places with Ash using his good eye to spot him. "Okay buddy. I'm opening my eyes in 3, 2, 1. As Ash's eyes opened, he tried to look where Pikachu normally hid, but this time, something felt different. Ash then tried to listen for Pikachu's movements, but the room was silent and still. He began to worry. "Pikachu? Are you there? Make a noise so I know that you're okay." Ash calls out but resulted in no response. "Hey, this isn't funny. Where are you?" Still no response. Ash began to worry and tried to move, but his paralyzed body forced him to remain put. How could he just disappear like that, Ash thought to himself. He was about to give a great yell to his partner when all of a sudden, Pikachu jumped out from behind him and landed on his face, which caused Ash to almost jump out of the couch in fright. Pikachu's collision left pain as his feet landed directly on Ash's nose. "Pikachu, what was that for?" Ash demanded as he felt the pain in his nose. Suddenly, Ash began to notice something when he needed to cover his nose. He realized that he could feel his left arm urging to itch his nose to ease the pain. He slowly lifted his left arm out of its slumber and bent it to reach his face. Pikachu noticed this too and squealed in joy and ran over to hug Ash, which he used his left arm to return the favor. "Thanks for that buddy. If you hadn't scared me like that, I would still be here without arms," joked Ash. Pikachu just gave a cheeky-looking smirk at that comment and gave him a nuzzle on the cheek. "It looks like I'll be back to my normal self again soon enough buddy. What do you say?" Ash asks. "Of course you will Ash," squeaks Pikachu and gives him one big hug. "Maybe taking care of Ash is easier than I thought it would be." Pikachu thinks to himself, "Although I still wish this whole situation wouldn't have occurred, if only I saved him." The night came by fast as the time flew while Pikachu was having fun playing with Ash, now having his left arm back to normal. Both had leftovers of pancakes for dinner and Ash was given his first pill that was prescribed to him to take every night for 1 week. Ash now had his belly full and got tired from the heavy pancakes in his stomach and quickly fell asleep. Pikachu stayed up a little while longer to figure out what the items in the aid kit were used for so he would know when to use them on Ash. Pikachu then got tired and switched off the lamp on the side of the couch and curled up next to Ash and fell asleep. It was a little after midnight when Ash started to feel a lot of pain coming from mostly his stomach, which caused his body to sweat. Ash did not understand why he was in pain all of a sudden and tried to tough it out, but the pain kept on getting worse. The pain then spread to his legs where both were still completely paralyzed and could not be moved. Ash's body began to shake uncontrollably, which scared him to the thought that he might be dying in pain. Ash whimpered in pain and started to feel tears coming down his face. Pikachu woke up from his loud movements and quickly jumped up to see him upset. "Pikachu, it hurts, please help me," Ash called out in antagonizing pain. Pikachu did not know what to do other than help Ash relax. He put both paws on Ash's face and stroked his hair. "It's okay Ash, just relax, I'm here," Pikachu says in a soft voice as he continues to rub Ash's head. Ash could still feel pain as he continues to moan and starts crying. Pikachu was saddened to see Ash this way, but he had to remain calm in order to get Ash to calm down. He then had an idea to relax Ash, or to at least distract him from the ongoing pain. He laid on Ash's side with his tail rubbing his stomach and one paw gently tapping the back of his neck and the other touching his face. Ash began to feel Pikachu's soft paws and warm tail soothe his body and tried to stop shaking and ignore the pain. Ash still moaned in both the pain and Pikachu's soft paws. "Shush, it's okay Ash, relax," whispered Pikachu. Ash was not paying attention to what Pikachu was saying and just heard, "Shoo, Pika Pie Pikachu," but it was enough for Ash to relax his body in hearing Pikachu's soft whispering from his ear. Ash felt a tingle when Pikachu gently stroked the back of his neck that caused him to moan in sensation rather than pain. "Oh Pikachu, that feels so gee, don't stop yet, just a little more, I don't want it to hurt again." Ash praises. Pikachu giggles at Ash's requests and continues to massage him. "Of course Ash, you make me laugh," Pikachu comments at his sleepy trainer. The pain was easing as he kept on massaging Ash and making him feel more sleepy. "Shush, close your eyes Ash, have a good sleep," Pikachu intensely whispered as his new priority was to get him to sleep. After hearing that in his ear, Ash was in heaven. There was no greater feeling than being massaged and hearing whispers by his best buddy. Ash's eyes started to get heavy, and with one more whisper from Pikachu, Ash immediately fell to sleep feeling the best he has ever been. Perhaps it is not necessarily a bad thing that Ash is stuck at his home. At least he still has his buddy Pikachu, always by his side, and loves him with all his heart. The night ended quicker than Ash thought as he woke up bright and early. He had a good night's rest thanks to Pikachu and was now full of energy. Pikachu, however, was still asleep lying on his back. This was an odd position for Pikachu to sleep on, probably because he fell asleep while standing up helping Ash sleep. Ash still can't get over Pikachu's warm and nurturing personality, where he has never thought of him to be that caring to people. Although Ash enjoyed every minute of Pikachu's massage, he wonders what was the cause of all that pain. Why was it so painful that it felt like he was dying? He began to think back when he was at the Pokemon Center when Nurse Joy was explaining his condition to Delia. He remembers some parts about Nurse Joy saying that the vaccine will take time to remove all the stun spore in his body and how it fights it off hard in order to remove it. Maybe all of that pain was the vaccine at work pushing through his stomach and legs to remove the stun spore. Ash thought more and sighed in relief that the pain was actually a good thing. Ash then sees Pikachu still fast asleep, and by the looks of it, he won't wake up anytime soon. Ash, however, is getting hungry for breakfast but cannot move with only one functioning arm. He looks at Pikachu, who has his head back at Ash's legs and his feet right in range of Ash. Pikachu then wakes up laughing as Ash relentlessly tickles his feet, who tries his best to push away from Ash but can't bear the shock. Pikachu's cheeks begin to spark electricity, and when Ash least expects it, he gives him a zap on his hand and breaks his grip on Pikachu. "Ow, I was trying to wake you up. What was that for?" Ash demands. Pikachu just rolled his eyes and replied cheekily, "Sorry Ash, but you were clearly asking for it." Pikachu then grabs cereal he found in the kitchen drawers and pours a bowl for him and Ash. They both feast on their cereal as they both hear each other's loud crunches. "Thanks again buddy for helping me last night, I was in so much pain, I didn't think I could make it through the night without your help," Ash complimented. Sure, no problem," blushed Pikachu. "You know the vaccine they put in me was the cause of all that pain, so this will probably not be the first time it is going to happen." "Oh, well I'll be here if you need me, thanks buddy. I was wondering if you could do what you did last night every night, I could get used to that," Ash requested. Pikachu giggled at the thought of his trainer's desperation to resolve pain by getting a massage by his Pokemon when it is usually him that is always being cared for. Still, he didn't mind helping his best friend get well so that they can be back to going on adventures and, of course, battling. Pikachu simply gave a friendly nod to Ash's request. They both ate very quickly and finished their dishes right at the same time. Pikachu put the bowls away and went back to Ash. "Hey Pikachu, wanna watch some TV with me?" Sure if that's what you want," replied Pikachu. Pikachu gave the remote to Ash and switched on the TV to see if they could find anything interesting, Pokemon related that is. Some TV channels included cooking shows, talk shows, and adult movies, which all seemed boring to the two of them. Ash kept going through the channels when something caught his eye. He went back a few channels and saw a live Pokemon ongoing battle at the Celadon gym. "Whoa! Check that out buddy," calls Ash to his partner. Pikachu smiled at the battle as it raged on. Ash then turns up the volume to pretend that he is actually there. Announcer. The challenger, Ryan Goldworth, has taken a serious blow to none other than the gym leader, Erica's Victreebel. Ryan. Alright Rapidash, use Fire Spin. Announcer. Rapidash charges in with Fire Spin and scores a direct hit. Victreebel is now unable to battle, which leaves the gym leader with one remaining Pokemon. Erica. I have saved my last Pokemon just for this occasion, go Vileplume. Announcer. Erica's final Pokemon is Vileplume, who is a grass and poison type, capable of releasing large amounts of toxic fumes which can completely disable an opponent. Pikachu's heart sank when he saw this, already remembering what happened just a few days ago when he tried to protect Ash from the enormous Vileplume that paralyzed his body. Ryan. Go Rapidash, use Inferno. Announcer. What's this? The powerful Inferno attack did not seem to affect Vileplume whatsoever. Erica. Stun Spore. Announcer. Here it comes, folks, the most powerful attack in Vileplume's arsenal, Stun Spore. And would you look at that? Stun Spore has engulfed the entire battlefield and has completely paralyzed Rapidash. Pikachu began to whimper at this, knowing that Ash met the same fate as the Rapidash. Why did this have to happen to him? Ash is nearly suffering in all the pain that it has caused. Why couldn't he have prevented this from happening by defeating the Vileplume? Was Pikachu a coward and let Ash suffer? Or was he not strong enough? Pikachu couldn't bear to watch any more of the battle and jumped off of the couch. He ran over quietly to a corner and sat down, avoiding the TV. Some tears began to form on his eyes and let them release his emotions. Ash then heard Pikachu crying softly by the corner of the living room. He then found the remote and switched the TV off. Ash realized and remembered their encounter with the giant Vileplume and how its stun spore caused a wide area of effect, just like in the battle. Pikachu must have been upset to see a similar event happen and is worried for him. Ash then responded to Pikachu's weeps by saying, "Hey buddy, there's nothing to worry about, we're safe now with each other." Pikachu looks over to Ash and still sees him stuck in one place because of him. "Pikachu, come closer to me, I have something to tell you," Ash calls. Pikachu, not very convinced, but does what he is told and hops on Ash's chest. He still has tears in his eyes and looks down in shame. Ash gently strokes Pikachu's ears and wipes a tear from his eye. "Look buddy, you did your best in trying to stop that Vileplume. It caught us by surprise and all I could think about at that time was protecting you. I don't care if you couldn't defeat it in time before it released Stun Spore. All I know is that you did your best in protecting me, so in return, I protected you." Ash softly spoke at his buddy. Pikachu looked up at his trainer. "I just wish you didn't have to go through this, I'm sorry." Ash lightly chuckled at this response. "Aw buddy, there's no need to apologize. You are the best friend I could ever ask for and more. Please, for my sake, never doubt yourself. You are the most special to me and perfect in every way. I love ya buddy," Ash complimented. Pikachu's heart filled up with love from his buddy Ash and gave him one giant hug. Pikachu then said something amazing that anyone could understand. "Pikachu pipe a copy. Pikachu loves Ash." Ash was amazed to hear this from his buddy and started to form tears of joy on his eyes as he hugged Pikachu with all of his might. Later that evening, right after dinner, Pikachu was getting ready to give Ash something that he will never forget. As Ash gave out a giant yawn, he heard noises coming from the bathroom and wondered what Pikachu was doing. Ash sat there for a few more minutes and decided to rest a while. Not long after he shut his eyes, he felt a thump on his chest and saw Pikachu giving a friendly smirk. "Hey buddy, that dinner was great. What were you doing in th?" Ash was cut off by Pikachu, who touched his mouth with one finger. "Don't say another word Ash, you just relax and enjoy what I'm gonna do," spoke Pikachu in a soothing voice. Ash then felt Pikachu's whole paw on his face and felt it was wet with warm water as Pikachu smudged his face with it. Pikachu then began to roll up Ash's t-shirt and began to rub his wet paws on Ash's stomach right where the pain was. Ash began to feel the tingle again as he realized that this will be something to enjoy, now that Pikachu is in a good mood. Ash just smiled and closed his eyes and let his buddy help him sleep all night. Ash was enjoying himself and was starting to feel tired, but Pikachu was far from being done. Pikachu suddenly hopped off of Ash and ran back to the bathroom. Ash was already pleased with his current massaging, but things were about to get more intense. Ash now hears Pikachu's feet pattering as he runs closer to Ash. There was another sudden thump when Pikachu jumped on the couch. Ash could now feel something so ticklish and sticky coming from his waist and started to move up to his belly. Ash was curious about what he was feeling, so he took a peek with one eye and he saw Pikachu walking ever so slowly on him on fours with some sort of cream on his paws. Ash was immediately delighted and gave out a big sigh. He could hear the satisfying tapping sounds of Pikachu's feet as he walked back and forth on Ash's chest. Pikachu noticed that Ash was really enjoying this. "You really like this, don't you, Ash?" Pikachu giggles. The body cream was being rubbed all over Ash and made him feel cleansed. Pikachu then finally got off him and went up to Ash's face. Ash did not feel anything for a moment as he was waiting on what Pikachu would do next. He suddenly heard a whisper from Pikachu. "I love you, Ash. Thank you for making me feel like I'm the best Pikachu in the world. This is for you, Pikapi." Pikachu then touched Ash's back neck while once again rubbing his belly with his tail, and to top it off, he gently touched Ash's side with his wet foot and softly rubbed it. Ash felt a tingle unlike any other and made him moan in sensation. "Pikachu, you are the best," Ash complimented, barely being conscious of the extreme sensation flowing through him. Pikachu once again simply shushes Ash and continues rubbing. Ash never knew that Pikachu was so considerate and caring to him that he would give him an unusual massage just for his comfort and pleasure. Suddenly, Pikachu gave him one intense whisper plus an extreme tingling feeling that caused Ash to immediately fall asleep pain-free. As soon as Ash was asleep, Pikachu hopped off the couch to clean himself up and tiptoed back to Ash and fell asleep to another peaceful night next to his best friend. In the middle of the night, Ash suddenly woke, except he did not wake up in pain. In fact, he was expecting to feel pain, but this time he didn't. Everything felt normal, as if there was never going to be pain in the first place. Maybe it was too early for the pain to start, Ash thought. Or perhaps it was Pikachu's intense massage that caused his body to relax. Whatever the reason, Ash liked having a pain-free night. Ash looked over at Pikachu, who was curled up like a ball right beside him, and whispered, "Thank you, Pikachu," and gently patted his head. Ash then felt sleepy again and laid his head down and shut his eyes for a relaxing night. The dawning light of a new day hit the eyes of Ash as he squinted them at the blinding light. He tried to use his hand to block the beaming light but noticed something. Instead of just one hand that blocked the light, it was both of his hands, and soon realized that his right arm was functioning again. Ash then gave out a large yell. "Yes!" Which of course he forgot all about Pikachu still being asleep. Pikachu's ears twitched at the loud sound and he slowly lifted up his head. His eyes were heavy and watered as he could only see a blur of Ash. Suddenly, he felt not one but two hands gently stroke his ears. Pikachu then popped his eyes wide open and noticed that Ash was using his two arms. "Look, buddy, my other arm works again," Ash said with excitement. Pikachu gave a big smile and went up to nuzzle Ash's cheek. "You know what, since both my hands work, I can try to get on the wheelchair," Ash realized. Pikachu squealed with joy knowing that Ash can finally start moving. Without thinking, Ash reached for the wheelchair handle that stood a far enough distance from the couch, which made him begin to lose his balance and nearly toppled off the couch. His hand caught the floor and saved him from a complete collapse along with Pikachu pulling on his shirt. Ash gave a sigh of relief. "Thanks, buddy. Now do you think you can help me get up?" Ash hollered up to Pikachu on top of the couch, pulling Ash with his life. Ash noticed that Pikachu was struggling to keep a hold of him. "Come on, buddy, you can do it." Cheers Ash as Pikachu is the only one keeping him from his legs falling on the floor. Pikachu pulled with all his might, desperate to keep Ash up so he could finally get on the wheelchair. With Ash least expecting it, Pikachu found himself pulling Ash up with enormous strength, much larger than he has ever experienced. He then sighed in relief as Ash was now back where he started on the couch. Ash looks at Pikachu and smiles. "Thanks, but whoa, I had no idea you could pull me up like that. You're stronger than I thought." Ash praised as Pikachu's face went red in blush. "Well, I gotta figure out how to get on this thing. Will you help me, buddy?" Ash questioned in desperation. Pikachu nodded and hopped off the couch to move the wheelchair closer to Ash's reach. When it was in position, Pikachu gave a squeak telling Ash to try again. He understood and reached out with his two functioning hands and made contact with the handles. Now, he needed to shift his body weight over quickly in order to reach the seat. Ash used both arms to attempt to lift his legs up and onto the wheelchair. Pikachu noticed what he was up to and tried to lift up Ash's legs to prevent them from being dragged over. With one mighty push, Ash found himself on his wheelchair and sitting in an upright position. Pikachu squealed with excitement at his trainer's success. This was a great feeling to Ash. He had almost forgotten what it was like to sit up after being pinned down for the past few days. Ash smiled back at Pikachu, looking at the new view and gazing at the window where he could see daylight. Ash then noticed the two large wheels and gently pushed both wheels backward in order to push forward. He was at first startled at the sudden forward movement, but then felt relaxed as it slowed to a stop. Pikachu saw this and ran up to Ash's lap in delight. Pikachu liked that Ash could finally move around again. The first place Ash went to with his new wheelchair was the front door. Luckily, he knew where Delia always hid the door key, which was obviously under the welcome floor mat, in which he told Pikachu to fetch it for him. When he gave the key to Ash, he immediately attempted to unlock the door. It took a few tries as he was having trouble remembering which direction to turn it in. When he finally guessed right, he pulled the door right open to see the beautiful sunny morning with the bright light shining on his eyes. He covered his eyes as he was not used to the bright light of the outdoors. When his eyes adjusted, he gave a relaxing sigh, breathing in the fresh cool air with a nice breeze that touched his face. Pikachu, seeing Ash relaxed, made him do the same. "Ah, I really missed this," Ash tells Pikachu at ease. "You can say that again," Pikachu agreed. "I know it's a bit early, but I want to get moving. How about a quick walk around the neighborhood?" Pikachu thought of this and wondered if Ash would be safe, but the desperate look on Ash's face convinced him that he would be okay. "Fine, but be careful and go slow. I don't think you should overdo it," Pikachu sternly replied. Ash then gave a giant grin and pushed off forward to the sunlight. Everything looked bright and shiny in the eyes of Ash as he gazed all around him, from the trees to the small neighboring houses that all connected to the dirt road. "Welp, here goes nothing," Ash yelled and went along the road that went slightly downhill. Pikachu jumped off of Ash and followed his tracks. Ash was going exceptionally fast as he felt like he was racing. Pikachu realized this when he noticed how fast he was running in order to keep up with him. Ash was having the time of his life as he sped past the houses of Pallet Town, with people looking through their windows wondering who or what was going so fast. Pikachu was now getting worried at Ash. "Ash, slow down," Pikachu shouted up to Ash, who was barely listening. As the road began to get steeper downhill, Ash didn't hesitate to go faster. Eventually, the wheelchair could roll down on its own to the point where he could let go. Pikachu was now worried that Ash didn't know what he was doing and tried to catch up with him by using Quick Attack. However, he soon realized that there was no way to stop the wheelchair without getting badly trampled. All he could do was watch as Ash rolled down the hill, now getting steeper. Pikachu yelled out to Ash, who now realized that he was no longer in control. Meanwhile, an older boy, 18 years of age, was walking along the long road from Cerulean City. His name was Brock, Ash's old traveling companion and a retired gym leader of Pewter City. He walked with a slightly younger girl, 16 years of age to be exact, named Misty. She was of course another one of Ash's traveling companions who was the gym leader at Cerulean City. Brock and Misty were on their way to Ash's house. Their walking pace was a bit faster than usual, but they didn't notice and kept ahead with the light breeze. Brock looked at Misty. "Gee, I hope Ash is all right. Remember what Delia told us, that his Pikachu is the only one with him," Brock told Misty with a bit of concern. Misty, however, was more optimistic in that Ash was in good hands, or paws for that matter. "I'm sure he is okay as long as Pikachu stays with him. You know, Pikachu always made sure Ash didn't do anything stupid when we traveled with him. So, I'm sure he will protect Ash from anything that gets in Ash's way," Misty reassured Brock. Just then, they saw a fast-moving object up ahead in the distance. The object appeared to have wheels, but too small to be a car of any kind. "Hey Misty, do you see that?" Brock looked, trying to figure out where the mysterious object was headed. At that moment, Brock soon realized that it was headed straight for them, rapidly speeding up. "Whoa, look out Misty!" Brock yelled and desperately pushed Misty off the road. Before he could react to anything else, his instincts told him to catch the moving object. In another moment, Brock put both his arms around himself and braced for impact. He was pushed back a bit, but stopped whatever was rolling down the hill. He then opened his eyes, and saw that the object was a wheelchair with someone familiar on it. "Ash!" Brock called out to his old friend. Misty soon realized who it was and ran over to them. "Oh my gosh, Ash. Are you alright?" she asked in concern. Although Ash nearly fell on his face, he looked very energetic and smiled. "Never better. That was amazing," Ash said with much enthusiasm. However, the looks on Brock and Misty's face were opposite. "What do you mean? You nearly crashed down the hill had we not caught you," Misty scolded. Ash then understood his reckless actions and looked up to Misty in apology. "I'm sorry, Misty. I just wanted some fresh air after being inside for the past few days," he explained. Just then, Pikachu finally caught up with Ash and saw both Misty and Brock. "Pikachu Pie!" he cried as he charged over to Misty. He then ran up her shoulder and gave a long warm nuzzle on her cheek, making small sparks fly out of his. "Ah, Pikachu, I'm so glad to see you too," Misty squeaked as she wrapped Pikachu in her arms. "It's been so long since I last saw your adorable face. You really bring cuteness to a whole new level," Misty complimented, her eyes closed. Ash's face went red when he heard this remark. "Oh, thanks, Misty," he hesitantly replied, making Misty stare at him. Ash, I was talking to Pikachu," she said as her eyes focused on the little mouse cradled in her arms. Ash suddenly felt the sting of regret for assuming himself, but forced himself to appreciate the compliment towards his partner. Pikachu looked up to Misty and gave a soothing coo, making Misty awe in cuteness. This forced her to hug him with all her might. "Oh Ash, I don't know how you get through the day without appreciating your adorable Pikachu," she spoke as she bathed the mouse in kisses. Ash and Brock stared as Misty kept on kissing the electric type, getting somewhat impatient. "Are you done yet? You know that he's my Pikachu, right?" Ash joked. Misty then gave Ash a furious look, making him wish he could use his legs to get up and run. Misty just huffed and turned back to Pikachu. "So how have you been? Has Ash been good?" Misty questioned as she stroked the mouse's ears. "Pika Pikapi, Pika Pikachu Pai Pai Chu, Pikachu," he explained, pointing to Ash and back to himself. Misty nodded to his words, pretending to understand his explanation. She then looked over to Ash. "All I got to say is you're lucky to have Pikachu taking good care of you." Ash looked down in embarrassment as Pikachu spoke in complete honesty. Luckily, Brock came to the rescue by opening up his basket full of sushi rolls, or jelly donuts, as he calls them. Everyone took a sniff at the wonderful scent that made their mouths water. "Of course I had to bring these along. Who's hungry?" Brock called out. "They look delicious," Ash responded in excitement. "Pikachu," the electric rodent added. Brock smiled at his hungry friends. He once again impressed them with his divine cooking. "Thanks, I'll help you roll back up to your house so we can have these for lunch," he announced. Pikachu sighed in relief, as if it weren't for Brock, he would be the one to carry Ash all the way back up. "Pie Pikachu," he squealed, jumping onto Ash's lap. About 10 minutes later of Brock pushing Ash up the hill like he was shoving a Rhyhorn, Misty, Ash, Pikachu, and Brock all settled down at the kitchen table, ready to feast. "Alright gang, ready to try these yummy jelly donuts," Brock said out loud, instantaneously making Misty frown. "How many times have I told you?" Misty began as she took a bite of the food. "They're sushi rolls, not stupid jelly donuts." Brock's face went red in embarrassment, realizing the name he called his delicacies. "Sorry, I've just been calling them ever since we traveled together," he responded as a possible excuse. This made the group think about their past adventures during their journey through the Kanto region. "Those were good times," Ash pointed out as he began to feast on his meal. "I remember it like it was yesterday, especially the start of my journey." Pikachu perked up at this, remembering meeting Ash for the first time. He then jumped up onto the table and sat next to his trainer as he retold his memories. "I was a wreck back then, waking up late, not at all responsible, and had no real friends." Ash started in a deep tone, obviously coming from his heart. "All of that changed when I met Pikachu, where I chose him as my starter Pokémon at Professor Oak's laboratory." Pikachu beamed in delight as he listened to his trainer's sweet words, while getting a little emotional. "Pika Pikachu, Pikachu," he chirped. "That's right buddy, we didn't get along initially," Ash responded to his comment. Pikachu didn't have any friends either, so he was scared and didn't trust anyone at the time. Now it was Brock and Misty who were starting to get emotional as he told his heartwarming story once again. When I thought I might lose him over a flock of angry Spearow, I cried in my mind to that thought, so I did everything I could to save him. Shaw, cooed Pikachu as he cuddled up to his trainer. But Pikachu saved me instead, using all of his power to defend me from severe injury. And now, he is doing the same in helping me fully recover from my condition. Pikachu nodded in agreement while patting his trainer on the back. Misty's eyes sparkled at Ash's wonderful story that caused a tear to spill. "Oh Ash, you and Pikachu are so sweet to each other," she complimented the duo with both in blush. "Ah, I don't know, we do have our arguments," Ash replied with Pikachu nodding with a smug grin. "But recently, he has been a big help and I really appreciate all he has done." Pikachu perked up at his trainer's words, while stuffing a roll in his mouth that went down too quickly, causing the mouse to pound his chest to get the food down his throat. The hasty effort resulted in a loud catch of breath which interrupted the silence. Everyone then laughed at the funny sound he made and returned to eating. About an hour later, after the group shared their many stories with each other, the sounds of a clock striking 2 o'clock chimed throughout the dining room. Misty and Brock realized that they had to get going as their jobs were waiting for them to return. Upon knowing this, they announced they had to leave and packed up for the journey ahead. "Thank you so much for coming, guys. I don't know what I would have done if you weren't there to stop me," Ash spoke up in appreciation. "It's no problem, we will always be looking out for you," Brock replied with a smile. "And we'll always be the first to hear from us next time you do something crazy," Misty added, with everyone laughing out loud. "Oh wait, that reminds me." Ash stared at Misty as she looked through her bright blue travel backpack in search of something. "Here," she said, giving me a shiny-looking badge. "I wanted to give you this gym badge as a gift since the newer Cerulean gym badges now look different." Ash looked at the badge with excitement, with Pikachu copying the same expression in his trainer's face. "I know you can't battle right now, but I thought that you could take this one to add to your collection, and maybe help get into another gym," Misty explained, hoping to get a response. "Thanks a lot, Misty, I'll be sure to put this in my badge case," Ash replied. "Hey Ash." Brock stepped in, seeing Misty's gift in his hand. "I have something for you too." Brock then pulls out a potion-like bottle, slightly smaller than one used for Pokemon. "It's to help reduce pain, since the antidote you took from Nurse Joy had side effects." Ash was astonished and thankful that his eldest companion gave him relief after all the pain that he suffered over the last nights of recovering. "Thank you so much, Brock, you're the best," he praised. "No problem, just getting more experience as a Pokemon doctor," Brock replied proudly. "But how do you know so much about human medicine?" "Well, once you get the hang of working with Pokemon for a while, you start to realize how similar it can be with treating people. But completely different when treating girls, right, Brock?" Misty added. Brock's face went from bright to red all over. "Just you wait, one day, Officer Jenny will finally see me as the man of her dreams," he managed to spit out, right before he received a painful shot of pain coming from his left ear. "The only thing she will see is your obsessional attitude," Misty playfully insulted, while holding him by the ear. Ash began to laugh out loud, with Pikachu and Misty joining in, thinking of happy memories of their past travels. "Well, we better get a move on, take care," announced Misty with Brock slightly waving while he remained attached to her grasp. Ash and Pikachu said their farewells and shut the door once they were out of sight. Both smiled, they were happy that Misty and Brock cared about them and had time for a visit. With that, Ash rolled his wheelchair back into the living room to return to his resting place. Pikachu helped him out and carefully positioned his trainer's legs onto the couch. He sighed, thinking of happy memories of traveling with his companions. All of a sudden, Ash gave a great yawn, cueing Pikachu that it was time for his nap after using much of his energy to talk with his friends. Although it was only 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Ash felt like he had been awake for 24 hours. Pikachu tucked him in and gave a gentle nuzzle on his face for a good rest. Ash smiled and returned the favor, making the electric type blush in affection. He then decided it was also his time for a nap, as his trainer's warm body soothed his cold and tired paws. The blanket that laid on the couch beckoned for him to curl into a ball and sleep next to his best friend. So without any other distraction, he took the soft blanket and covered both him and his sleepy trainer into a comfortable darkness. Both heard the sounds of their own breathing that helped comfort their slumber. Some noises were heard as the nearly asleep mouse peeked out his eyes. In a not-so-conscious state, he began to doze off again when he heard a loud bang that seemed to be coming from outside the surrounding warmth of knitted wool covering him. He first looked over to his trainer, who was still sound asleep to no surprise. Suddenly, his ears picked up more audiation in the same direction. Curious, the mouse softly smacked himself with a paw to wake the rest of his body up. Finding an opening in the blanket, he carefully hopped down and landed on the carpet floor while trying not to wake Ash. The mouse looked around the room, trying to identify anything unusual. Using his senses, he tried to sniff out the source of the noise that disturbed his slumber. At that moment, the noises had ceased, with only the electric rodent's quiet breaths heard. He then decided to explore the rest of the house, making sure that everything was secure. His next stop was the kitchen, which seemed to be the original source of the noise. The mouse tip-pawed in the room with the carpet flooring transitioning into hardwood, making soft pitter-patter as he searched for any sign of uncertainty. All the windows were shut and there was still some daylight left, making him somewhat relieved. Feeling content, Pikachu walked back out of the kitchen and back to his perch. Just as he was about to hop back on the couch, a sound of shattering glass echoed through the house. Pikachu nearly froze hearing the sound of 3 familiar voices. "All right, let's do this swiftly and quietly before we get into trouble," one said. "That's easy for you to say, Jess," another replied. "We're da ones always doing all da hard work for you." "Well, I'm the one in charge of you 3 and skillfully planned this operation. Will you 2 shut up before we get busted?" Without thought, Pikachu crept under furniture to stay hidden as he tried to peek out to see who it was. Surely enough, he saw 2 people, one with long pink hair, and one with shorter purple hair along with a talking Meowth. Pikachu's heart rate sped up, trying to get a closer look. As he tip-pawed on 4s, the thought of ambushing them from behind popped in his head, hoping that it would be enough to scare them away. After all, he had to defend his home and most importantly, his Pikapi. Pikachu was careful where he stepped, making sure that his feet were silent as he got closer to his target. The trio of robbers didn't seem to notice him at all, making him more confident. His tail then began to glow silver, readying his iron tail attack. Just as he was about to make contact, the floorboard that he stepped on made a high-pitched squeal, revealing his location. His enemies looked back, seeing the mouse charge up his attack. There they were, Jessie, James, and Meowth all staring at him with evil grins congested in their faces. "Well, look who it is, the twerp's Pikachu," Jessie announced to the group. "Yous thought yous could sneak up on us like dat? I have good ears for a reason," added the cat Pokemon. "Guys," James interrupted. "It's Pikachu, with no sign of the other twerp, he's here alone." Pikachu took a step back as their faces changed with a smug grin. He was shocked to see them at his own house, maybe a little scared, but he also knew one thing, to protect his Pikapi with everything he had. With that, Pikachu sparked his cheeks, leaping into his battle stance. "Pika Pika Pikachu, you leave me alone. I will never get captured by the likes of you," Pikachu shouted with confidence. "Oh yeah?" Meowth chuckled. "Well, there's no one here to save you now." Jessie and James suddenly equipped their Pokeballs, calling out their Pokemon, Arbok and Weezing. They towered over the small mouse, hissing at the intruders. "Arbok, Poison Sting," commanded Jessie, as the Cobra Pokemon released small poisonous projectiles at him. Using his senses, Pikachu leapt off the ground, dodging the attack. He then countered with Quick Attack, running full force at the attacker and headbutting him into the wall. "Weezing, get in there and use Tackle," responded James, sending the gas Pokemon straight at Pikachu. He saw from the corner of his eye the floating ball Pokemon coming his way. With his Quick Attack still in use, he sprinted towards the kitchen table, hopping on top to kick glass plates on top of Weezing, which was surprisingly effective. While fighting, Pikachu attempted to hold back his electric attacks in order to not cause any further damage to the house. Instead, he continued to use irregular moves, using the kitchen to his advantage, finding cups, silverware, and other kitchen utensils to use as a weapon. Soon, this began to wear down his opponents, making the perfect opportunity to attack. I have had enough of this," shouted Jessie in anger. "Arbok, squeeze that rat with your tail." "You help too, Weezing, use Haze," James commanded. The room was now filled with black smoke, blinding everyone in it. Pikachu coughed and tried his best to avoid breathing in the smog. Just then, a large purple tail appeared from the smoke and snatched him with a firm grip. Within seconds, he could feel a massive body wrapping all over him, unable to move. The mouse struggled and squirmed, trying to escape the grasp of the giant snake Pokémon, but to no avail. Suddenly, he felt his body being crushed harder as he cried out in pain. He felt his power becoming frail, with his body ready to give in to the overwhelming strength of his enemy. When all of it seemed hopeless, he remembered his Pikapi, always being there for him, always cheering him on to keep going and never give up. He could hear his trainer's voice, telling him to never give in. "You can do it, buddy. I know you can," he hears, echoing through his mind. Suddenly, the encouraging words of his trainer gave him a new strength that he didn't know he had. He felt his body becoming weaker, but his spirits were as hot as the flames of a Moltres. Using his instincts, Pikachu continued to squirm and find an opening. When he came in contact with Arbok's tail, he lunged forward and bit down into his skin. Using his remaining energy, his cheeks began to spark electricity, using his teeth to channel his electricity into his opponent. The Cobra Pokémon screamed in pain as his body was hit both by teeth and jolts of lightning. Slowly but surely, Pikachu could feel the snake's grip begin to loosen, exposing an opening that he could squeeze through. Jessie, James, and Meowth were already concerned about the fact that they too couldn't see anything by Weezing's thick smog that continued to soar in the air. "Arbok, where are you?" Jessie called out, receiving no response. "Come on, where is Pikachu? You were supposed to bring him to me." Still, no response. All of a sudden the giant snake Pokémon that Jessie was looking for made one final cry before fainting right next to her feet. Shocked that her tough Pokémon was now full of scars and bruises, she no longer could find her confidence in their mission, replacing it with fear. "James, do something. Find that pesky Pikachu so we can get out of here," she commanded in desperation. "Weezing, find Pikachu and bring him to us," shouted James. The ghastly Pokémon complied, vanishing into the thick smog in search of the mouse. With Pikachu now out of Arbok's grasp, he proceeded to hide in the shadows of the smog, using it to his advantage. When Weezing was in his sights, he swiftly used a series of irregular attacks as a distraction, throwing various items at the floating Pokémon. This made him angry, causing him to fire poisonous projectiles in all directions, hoping to have hit the slick mouse. He continued to search but was then hit with a painful blow in the back of his main head. Pikachu had sneaked up on Weezing's rear and hit him full force with Iron Tail, causing him to fall back. A few moments went by until the Team Rocket trio found Weezing knocked out, causing the smog to lift. There they saw Pikachu standing up, giving them a death glare. They both were forced to recall their knocked-out Pokémon, with the thought of blasting off in their minds. "Pikachu Pika Pika Pie, Pikachu Pika Pika. You guys better get out of my house, or I'll do what I did to your Pokémon," scowled Pikachu. "Please Twerp, have mercy on us. We just wanted to get some grub." Meowth grumbled at the electric type's feet, with the other two doing the same. "Yeah, we were really hungry and since we are broke, we were forced to find food here," added James. Feeling very annoyed and tired, Pikachu was not convinced in the slightest, as he sparked his cheeks in a lethal fashion, bringing fear in their eyes. He wasn't going to be fooled by their mischief again, unlike Ash. "Pika, Pikachu Pichu Pikachu, oh please, I'm not going to fall for another one of your scandals," he hissed. As he stared into the faces of Team Rocket with hatred, he began to notice something that he never saw in them before. He first looked at Jessie with tears in her eyes, then to Meowth and James, with their faces wet with emotions. They began to weep in distraught over their fate, sounding like they were lost. Please dear Pikachu." Jessie managed to spit out over her crying. "I'm so very sorry for what we did, please forgive us. We're so hungry that we couldn't stop ourselves and we felt greedy," James wept. "No one will give us anything, because we're evil and I guess this is what we deserve," Meowth concluded. This took Pikachu by surprise. He surely wasn't expecting the infamous Team Rocket begging on their knees and admitting that they were evil. As much as he hated them right now, he also felt something that he thought would be the last thing that came to his mind: empathy. This was the first time that they ever showed such strong emotions to their foes. Also, The fact that they were starving since no one gives them any aid based on their reputation was new to him, something he never considered before. Pika. Okay. Pikachu finally announced, making the sobbing group fall silent. Pi Pika Pi, Chu Pi Ka Chu Pikachu. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I get why you did what you did. Everyone, including himself, was stunned at what he had said. With that, Pikachu quickly dashed over to the kitchen counter and got something out of the cabinet. Jessie, James, and Meowth overheard pattering footsteps, daring not to move in his presence. Pikachu returned a moment later, having 3 little Pecha berries carried in his paws. He set them down gently, each one in front of a Team Rocket member. Pika, Pikachu Pi Pika Ka Chu. Here, you can have this but no more, he offered rather calmly. The trio seemed rather frightened, making a move in front of the powerful electric mouse. They slowly took their hands out to reach the fruit, staring at him in case he rejected. Pikachu, Pi Pika Pikachu. It's all right. I'm allowing you to eat just this once. He spoke in a non-threatening voice. With that, the 3 Team Rocket members chowed down on their small delicacy. Their faces went from depressed into joy as the sweet taste of the ripe Pecha berry filled their empty stomachs with delight. Pikachu watched as they enjoyed the moment of peace, feeling like this was the right thing to do. Maybe Team Rocket has changed for the better. After all, they didn't directly go after Pikachu, they were just hungry in search of food. Pika Pi Pikachu Pikachu. You guys are not evil, he admitted to his enemies. Pikachu Pika Ka Pikachu Pikachu. You guys just need guidance to become better people, it's never too late to change. All of them looked up at Pikachu's rather kind words. This was the first time that Pikachu was being nice to them, something they have never felt before. Suddenly, Jessie stood up from her knees, bringing everyone else to their attention. She bent down to Pikachu's level, looking like she had something to say. Pikachu, thank you so much for your generosity, we are all thankful that someone can treat us nicely for once. She praised the mouse. I feel like I was responsible for all of our mischief, so if there's anyone you would blame it on, blame me. Pikachu couldn't begin to comprehend such unusual behavior. Was Jessie really admitting her misdeeds in front of all of them? Whatever the case, Pikachu was glad to see that the once relentless Team Rocket bandits were finally giving in to him, trying to be good. Pika Pika, Pi Pika Pikachu. It's okay, I'm not going to blame you, he replied, with Meowth as his translation. Hearing Meowth's translation made her once again well up with tears. She then hastily embraced for a hug, the last thing Pikachu thought she would ever do. Unable to pull back, he accepted her gesture with a light nuzzle. Pikachu thought more as they continued their hug. What would become of these 3 bandits? Will they just give up Team Rocket? As the question revolved in the electric type's head, an extreme impact was suddenly felt. In another moment, the Team Rocket uniform that he once nuzzled was now hardened glass. Thank you for this, Pikachu. Jessie spoke again, this time without her previous emotions. The mouse looked around his new surroundings to see himself caged in a glass container. He then attempted to move but to no avail, as the tiny space was barely able to fit him. He watched in horror as Jessie, James, and Meowth got up and proceeded to steal more food as they did before. Thanks for making yourself an easy target, Jessie shouted, concluding her praise. She then proceeded to wink at James, signaling that it was time to once again say their long and overheard motto. Prepare for trouble, and make it double, to protect the world from devastation. To unite all our peoples within our nation. To protect the meaning of truth and love. To extend our reach to the lone Pikachu above, Jessie, James, Meowth's the name. Team Rocket blasts off to make a hastily swipe. Surrender now or we'll turn this operation into a mega heist. Pikachu was in utter shock at what he was witnessing. Less than a minute ago, he thought Team Rocket wasn't so bad after all, but that all changed for the worst. Pikachu Pika. Why are you doing this? He squeaked as he tried to be heard through the cage. Pikachu Pika Pi Pika Ka Chupi. I thought you were going to be good from now on. You Mews Tink were idiots if you thought we would ever betray our boss and Team Rocket. Meowth interrupted with laughter. This is who we truly are. We are certainly not the ones to go beg for mercy at the ones who took us for granted. Jessie added in a dark tone. Precisely, this is our revenge for what people did to us. James finished with a proud fist in the air. Pikachu Pika. Pika Pikachu Chew Pika Pie Pikachu. But this is wrong. Stealing other Pokemon will not solve anything, the mouse fired back. It does us good with our boss. He will give us a hefty ransom when he finds out that we captured an exceptionally powerful Pikachu. Enlightened Meowth. Pikachu couldn't believe they were doing this to him after giving them a second chance. He was willing to help them recover from their troubles, and maybe even become friends. All of those happy and promising thoughts vanished into nothingness. Pikachu, please, let me go. Pikachu tried but was of no help. Haha. Look who's begging for mercy now, Jessie scoffed while filling up a bag with stolen goods. There was nothing the mouse could do at this point. He was trapped with all of his attacks useless against the tight space he was enclosed in. He then thought of Ash, how he might be his last hope to escape. With that, he desperately kicked around and called out his trainer's name. This soon became an annoyance to the trio as they finished up filling their loads. Keep it down, you rat, scolded Meowth. No one is coming to rescue you this time, haha. Pikachu refused and proceeded to keep making as much noise as possible to wake his trainer up. He began charging up his cheeks with energy and released it on the small cage, having no effect on it. Save your lightning for later, that cage is once again electric-proof, James informed the escapist mouse. However, Pikachu was far from giving up, as he kept on with his attacks, desperately trying to get attention. This couldn't happen. He wouldn't allow Team Rocket to kidnap him while his best friend was in need of help. All of those nights when Ash was in pain, he was the only one there to help him recover. What could he do if he was gone? Ash needed him as he needed Ash, plain and simple. With that in mind, Pikachu let out the loudest squeak he could ever produce. Pikapi! He screamed with all of his might. In an instant, Ash awoke to the sound of his best friend in distress. He looked up, then to the side where the noise came from. Pikachu, I'm coming, buddy, he called back. Using his strength, he lifted himself off of the couch and onto his wheelchair. He raced into the kitchen to see his buddy trapped by none other than the infamous Team Rocket trio. Pikachu looked at him with worried eyes, trying to escape but to no avail. This made Ash fill his head with anger at the thought of the same people always after his Pikachu. Team Rocket, give me Pikachu back right now, he barked at the bandits. Just then, Team Rocket began to notice his presence, shocked at his appearance. Well, look who it is, Jessie announced to the group. It's Da Twerp on wheels, dis is new, Meowth observed. It looks like our luck just gets better, James shouted in delight. Ash silently agreed that he was in a difficult position, but if Pikachu was in trouble, then that didn't matter to him. Pikachu had been taking care of him all this time when his body could hardly function. He had to save him, no matter what it took. Without any Pokemon to support him, he was Pikachu's only hope, and he would not let him down. Well, Twerp, it looks like we caught you at the right time, Jessie remarked. And now the time to leave is here. Ta-ta, Twerp. James laughed as the group ran out of where they came in. Ash was now furious at their mockery. Without thinking about his actions, he sped out with his wheelchair, chasing down the kidnappers of his beloved Pokemon. The unstable ground caused his wheels to drag and not move properly, but somehow, he found strength in his arms as he pushed them forward with all his might. The trio looked back to see them being chased by the angry-looking boy who was putting all his efforts into catching up. It looks like Da handicapped Twerp wants a fight, so let's give it to him, smiled Meowth as Jessie called out her Pokemon. Arbok, use Poison Sting, she commanded the partially recovered snake, sending lethal projectiles at the target. The impact shook the wheelchair, knocking off Ash to the ground with the sting of poison that pierced his clothes. He cried out in pain, unable to get up from his disabled legs. Pikachu winced in horror as he saw his trainer get hurt from the attack, causing him to squeak out in worry. He then looked upon the faces of his enemies filled with laughter and evil, and screamed out in anger. This caught the trio's attention, forcing them to hold back against the mouse's attempts to break out of his cage. James, do something and quiet this annoying rat, Jessie ordered her sidekick. He complied, pressing a button on the cage that caused electricity to surge through Pikachu's body. The electric type could feel his electricity being overloaded, causing much pain. Ash looked up, seeing his buddy in terrible pain that made his heart stop. Pikachu. The mouse wailed in uncomfort. Ash heard the call for help. His natural reaction was to save his friend, but this time his body would not let him. He struggled forward, trying to crawl with his hands as he was once again shot by the enemy Pokemon. Not a hand forward twerp. Meowth barked at the injured boy. However, Ash kept moving forward, using his love and anger as strength to push on. Pikachu looked at his trainer's bravery, feeling so much love for him, yet Team Rocket was causing them harm. He put both paws on the glass, staring in sorrow at his partner's state. He then closed his eyes, focusing with all his might. "Get up, Ash, I know you can." Ash looked around, trying to identify the source of the voice, but couldn't recognize it. He then looked to Pikachu, seeing his eyes focused and at peace, despite all the pain he was receiving. Ash then realized that it was the internal voice of his best friend calling for his help. Nothing else in that moment mattered. He had to save Pikachu just as he saved him from all the vigorous pain he had suffered. "I'm coming, buddy," he screamed, making even the busy bandits notice his determination. The raven-haired boy gritted his teeth, focusing with everything he had on moving his legs. He got on his arms and attempted to pull himself off the ground. Team Rocket looked in confusion for a moment at his actions, before realizing what he was trying to do. They all laughed as Ash struggled to make his legs function. Pain from his injuries surged through his body as the poison made his body weaker. His two functioning limbs ached, trying to carry his other two to stand. "Looks like the twerp can't even get on his feet this time. That means we finally win," James announced to the others. Pikachu looked at his best friend in distress, devastated at his condition but sensed his determined aura. Ash could only think of one thing: Pikachu. The thought of his best friend gave him strength, an extraordinary feeling that contained all throughout his body. Team Rocket then turned away, assuming that the boy wasn't making any progress. However, the more he thought of Pikachu, the more he wanted to move. "Come on. I have to save Pikachu," he cried to himself, with the ongoing pain still present in his body. Suddenly, the boy found an enormous amount of energy that entered his bones, rushing to break free from his restraint. He looked at himself, trying to channel all his focus on feeling his legs again. The sounds of Pikachu and the terror were ringing through his ears. He was going to be taken away from him forever. This thought made Ash have a sudden outburst of movement. He examined his position, realizing that his 2 feet were on the ground. He adjusted his spine, balancing himself so he couldn't fall. There was a moment of shock in Ash, realizing that he had just used his love for Pikachu as the strength to gain his limbs consciousness. Ash then remembered the situation, glaring at the escape artist trio with rage. With his mysterious strength still present, he channeled it to take a step forward. Then another, and another. Soon, he relearned how to run and was sprinting after the trio of runaways. Pikachu, still in pain of the torture he was receiving, could sense that his trainer was coming for him. He looked out and saw him running with extraordinary speed after the group of bandits. Meowth was the one to look back and see their nemesis chasing after them. "Jess, Twerp is right on our tail," he yelled in alarm. Before Jessie could react to his voice, she found herself being shoved to the ground, with the cage that once held their prize escaping her grasp. Ash grabbed the cage Pikachu was in, trying to break him free. Pikachu was relieved at the sight of his trainer, looking stronger as ever. Ash took no time to hesitate, picking up a large rock and smashing it onto the glass cage, shattering it completely. Pikachu jumped in the air, embracing his freedom. "Pikapi," he squealed in happiness, landing on his trainer in the process. The mouse hugged his trainer with all his might, giving him licks all over his face. Ash was in tears of joy, embracing his love along with nuzzling his red cheeks. He sat down and cradled his buddy, stroking his fur to comfort his injuries. "Oh buddy, I'm so glad you're okay," exclaimed Ash. "Not so fast, Twerp." Ash looked over to see the Team Rocket menaces who took his best friend away. Pikachu sparked his cheeks, ready to release his anger. "You're not getting back Pikachu that easy, Meowth, use Fury Swipes," shouted Jessie. Both Pokemon and trainer looked at each other and nodded. "All right buddy, let him have it. Give them your biggest Thunderbolt," Ash encouraged his #1 partner. Pikachu let his anger and frustration build up inside of him, transforming the feelings into electricity. He wanted this Thunderbolt attack to be one Team Rocket would never forget. "Pika," the mouse whispered, holding his breath. "Chew," he let out, releasing every spark of electricity he had. Instead of aiming directly towards his target, The powerful blast of electricity shot up into the sky, forming dark clouds above. Jesse, James, and Meowth looked up in horror, hugging each other as they awaited their painful fate. They watched as the sounds of loud thunder could be heard from the clouds, circling them as lightning began to collect in the center of the storm. In another moment, the clouds shot down a beam of lightning straight at its target, shocking everything that stood. "Looks like we're blasting off again," 3 voices screamed in pain as they disappeared into the sky. Ash looked ahead at the destruction the blast caused, astonished at the immense power of his best friend. Pikachu also seemed to be surprised at his own doing, staring at the ground which left a fairly large crater that was still steaming with smoke. Pikachu then ran back to Ash and jumped on his shoulder. The mouse cooed in comfort as his trainer caressed his fur. "Just like old times, right buddy?" his trainer asked. "Pika Pika. Pikachu, of course. I really missed this," the mouse squeaked. The duo looked up at the sky, seeing the clear sky as if there were never any storm clouds to begin with. "What was that storm you created?" Ash wondered. "Pika? Huh? Yeah, it was like a new move or something." Ash thought about this more, remembering all the electric attack moves he encountered during his travels. "Do you think you just learned thunder?" Ash inquired. Pikachu tested his theory by releasing another thunderbolt attack at the sky. This time, however, made no clouds form. Pikachu then looked up to his trainer in a confused expression. "Welp, whatever it was, it surely got rid of Team Rocket." Ash cheered with Pikachu mimicking his expression. Suddenly, Ash began to feel pain in his legs, forcing him to lay down. The adrenaline in his body was fading away, along with the strength that made him run. He began to feel the sting of poison throbbing in his chest. "Pikapi Pikachu? Ash, are you okay?" Pikachu spoke in worry. Ash tried to respond, but instead was moaning in pain as poison started to swell up in his skin. Pikachu tried his best to comfort his trainer, but could tell that his condition was worsening by the second. With no other options, Pikachu decided to look for help. "Pika Pikapi, Pikachu Pika. Wait here Pikapi, I'm going to get you help," the mouse informed his trainer. He had to be quick, as Ash was starting to look pale and was trembling uncontrollably. Pikachu was frightened by this, but didn't show it to remain calm for him. After helping him relax a little, the electric type ran back up to the main road of Pallet Town. There, he saw his home, partially wrecked by the break-in. The mouse stepped inside, locating Ash's prescribed medicines, which included painkillers that may help Ash temporarily. He then saw the couch that his trainer once slept on and saw the pack of medicine, with a few pills still inside. Unable to identify the right pill, he decided to carry the whole pack by lifting it with his tail. Pikachu dashed away back to his trainer to give him some relief. When he found him, Ash was curled into a ball, looking cold and shivering. Pikachu wasted no time and carefully fed his trainer a small pill that would help ease the pain. "Pikachu Pikapi, Pikachu Kachu. Relax Ash, this pill will make the pain go away," he assured his trainer. Ash used whatever energy he could muster to smile at his best friend who was once again taking good care of him. "Teeth and thanks buddy," he praised. A few moments passed when Pikachu could sense an object approaching them. He ran over to the road to see bright lights in the distance. As they got closer, he began to sniff the air, catching a familiar scent. He realized that the lights were the car headlights of none other than Delia's van. There was no better time for his mother to come to the rescue. When the van got close enough, the mouse shot out electricity, signaling that he was in need of help. Delia was already out of the van when she saw this. "Hey Pikachu, I finally returned. How are you doing?" she questioned, unbeknownst of her son's condition. Pikachu took no time at all to explain himself to the best of his ability, making gestures and mimicking actions. Delia stared at Pikachu as if she was reading a book. Before she could respond, the mouse called for her to follow him. She hastily walked on the field of grass to see her injured son lying on the ground. Panicked, she bolted over to him, scanning for injuries and feeling his cold body. "Oh no honey. Are you all right? Please say something dear," she yelled, louder than she intended. Ash looked up at her warm face, happy to see his mother again. Hey mom, I'm okay. Jay just a little beat up," he slowly replied. "What happened here? Who did this to you?" Delia questioned, sounding more angered. Before Ash could answer, he suddenly felt a wave of haze, causing him to gently faint into a much-needed sleep. Delia became more worried, but remained strong and willing to carry her son all the way to the hospital. Pikachu helped all he could, escorting his human mother to their destination, making sure that nothing else would harm them. About an hour later, Delia and Pikachu stepped into the hospital, with Nurse Joy present, awaiting an emergency. There she saw a boy in her arms, with an electric mouse next to them. It didn't take any words for Nurse Joy to see what condition Ash was in, so she silently placed him on a stretcher and took him into the medical room. Delia and Pikachu peeked through the door window to see Ash go, somewhat relieved that he would receive medical attention. With nowhere else to go, Delia sat Pikachu down by the lobby seats, sitting down to rest. Pikachu was exhausted after fighting all of Team Rocket's Pokémon and after nearly fainting to the torture he received. The warmth and comfort of Delia made the tired mouse doze off into a sleep. Delia looked in sympathy at Pikachu, caressing his fur as he slept the evening away. "You did such a good job in taking care of my Ash, you deserve a long rest," Delia quietly praised. "Shaw." The mouse cooed in response. As he cuddled closer to his mother, the medical room doors shot open, revealing Nurse Joy approaching with a hint of news. "Your son will be fine. He experienced minor injuries and poison which is already recovering," the nurse announced. Both Delia and Pikachu sighed in relief and excitement. "Is it okay if we can see him?" "Yes, of course, follow me." The group followed the nurse into Ash's room, where he was seen resting on a soft bed, with the heart rate monitor sounding his condition. Pikachu ran up to the bed and gently crawled on his trainer's chest. He looked back for a moment to see if Nurse Joy approved of this, with her head nodding in assurance. The mouse softly licked the boy's cheeks, making him smile in a tickling sensation. As soon as he managed to open his eyes, the first thing that came to contact was the face of his best friend. "Pikapi." The mouse squeaked in joy, nuzzling his face in the process. Ash's grin became a widening smile when he became aware of his surroundings. "Pikachu. I'm so glad you're here, buddy," the raven-haired boy told his favorite mouse. "Oh Ash dear, I'm so glad you're okay," Delia chimed in. She then embraced his body with a hug of affection, with Pikachu joining in. "Thanks Mom. How was your trip?" her son asked. "It was okay, but I would have much rather stayed home with you dear." Pikachu smiled, putting a paw on Ash. "But it looks like Pikachu has been taking care of you this whole time," she mentioned, while stroking Pikachu's back. "Yeah, he really has been a big help in easing all the pain I went through today." Pikachu. That darn Team Rocket hurt you." The mouse spoke with anger, which reminded Ash of how he ended up this way. "Oh yeah, the reason I was hurt was because Team Rocket tried to steal Pikachu again," Ash addressed his mother. Suddenly, her worried look was melted by rage at the words she heard. "I can't believe they would do that to you. I'm gonna make sure they—" "Hey, don't worry about it," Ash interrupted Delia's rant. "I'm fine and Pikachu did his best in protecting me, so in return, I protected him." He spoke in compassionate words, looking at Pikachu filled with love in his little brown eyes. "Besides, Team Rocket will never win, because our bond is so strong, we can never be separated." Pikachu squeaked in words of love, hugging his trainer and snuggled to his chest in deep affection. Ash then tickled him to brighten the mood, making the small mouse laugh out loud, making everyone else in the room chuckle in cuteness. "Pika pika pika pikapi pi pika pika pika. Oh Ash, I love you so much," Pikachu spoke under his laughter. "I love you too buddy." There was a moment of silence until Nurse Joy walked in the room to give Ash his report. "Hello Ash, after giving you a quick checkup while you were resting, I found some strange readings that you might want to take a look at," the nurse explained to her patient. Ash nodded and the nurse proceeded to pull out a laptop that displayed a series of X-ray photos. These pictures were taken during the checkup procedures. Ash looked closer at the photos, showing a complete X-ray vision of his body, containing his bone structure, muscles, and organs that composed his body. He also noticed the first photo showing injuries of the poison that irritated his muscles along with the remaining stun spore on his legs. The second photo displayed a similar condition as the first. However, the third and fourth had unusual color to them, without seeing any sign of the infectious bacteria. "You were diagnosed with an infectious poisoning of muscle and tissue which was affecting your heart rate, so I was assigned to give you antibiotics, along with pills to help contain the poison. However, something else was found in your body, a strange energy that seemed to be fighting against the infection, as these last two photos were the results of it spreading. Ash along with Pikachu were beyond confused at what the strange blue light that was seen in the photos. It started small, and then grew until the poison was no longer visible. As a result, your body seemed to have healed itself without the use of medicine, the nurse concluded her thoughts. Ash began to ponder this, thinking what might have caused this mysterious source to heal his body. He then thought of what happened when he was nearly broken. Somehow he gained an extraordinary amount of strength when he saw his partner in trouble. It felt as if both their minds were truly connected, which gave them both strength. Pikachu looked at Ash, trying to predict what was on his mind. Pikachu Pikachu Pie. Do you think it has something to do with us? He questioned his trainer. I'm not sure, buddy, but whatever it was, it helped me save you and gave me the strength to keep going when I was out of energy, Ash replied. Nurse Joy also thought about this, looking closely at the photos, realizing a similarity. Perhaps this may be the work of the aura ability, much like a Lucario would, she thought out loud. Not only does it connect both trainer and Pokemon, but it also can heal each other when their hearts are truly one. Both Ash and his partner realized that their aura must have been connected during those times. They both recalled the time when Pikachu spoke through his heart to send Ash a message of encouragement. That was how his strength came to be, through the inner voice of his friend. Both nodded, confirming their agreement, and looked back to Nurse Joy. Gee, I don't know, but whatever happened, I'm glad it did, he spoke in contentment. Pikachu. Yeah. The electric rodent added. Suddenly, Delia made a noise of alarm that startled the both of them. Oh my gosh. I totally forgot about Mr. Mime, she spoke out loud. He must still be waiting in the van, I hope he's okay. Delia then looked at Pikachu. Pikachu, will you stay with Ash while I go get Mr. Mime? She questioned. Pikachu. Of course I will, Pikachu squeaked in confidence. This made Ash laugh along with Pikachu, which made Delia feel relieved that he was once again in good paws. When Delia exited the room, Nurse Joy also stepped out to give them alone time. Ash and Pikachu both smiled when they were alone, remembering all the good times they had together. Buddy, thank you for everything. I didn't think that being stuck at home unable to move for 5 days would be so much fun, Ash praised his partner. If it weren't for you, I don't think I would have recovered this quickly, and I certainly would have been bored the whole time. This made Pikachu giggle in amusement. Pikachu Pikapi, Pikachu Ka Pikapi. You're so welcome, Pikapi. I also wanted to thank you for helping gain more confidence with myself, the mouse replied in more praise. Pikachu Pikachu Pika. I thought I wasn't good enough to take care of you, but you showed me that I was already helping you by simply being there with you. Ash then grabbed his buddy and held him close. You were amazing. There is nothing else I love more than you, buddy, he praised in deep affection. This made Pikachu blush, which sent sparks to his cheeks. They both stared at each other with long-lasting love. You know what would make me really happy, buddy? Ash suddenly questioned. Pikachu. What would that be? The mouse replied rather casually, predicting where this was going. Another amazing massage from my favorite little Pokemon. Pikachu knew exactly what he wanted. Pi Pikapi, Pikachu Pika. Oh Pikapi, you sure love my fur, don't you? Before he could respond to that, he felt the paws of his best friend, tickling and stroking his bare skin that tingles just how he remembered it. He then caught a glimpse of his buddy taking out his soft tail, rubbing his back in comfort. His breathing started to become moaning as the relaxing sensation started to take over his body. He could feel all the love and compassion he was receiving with the touch of his body to his partner's, an inseparable bond that would always share. 1 week later, all right buddy, are you ready to get going? Ash called out to his #1 partner. Pikachu Pikapi. You bet, Pikapi. The two exited the door of their home in Pallet Town, awaiting to start a brand new adventure in the morning sunlight. They ran as fast as they could, chasing one another and passing by all the houses. They managed to lose sight of their neighborhood and on the road to a new adventure. As they ran in delight, the sight of a small path caught the eye of Pikachu, making him stop. Ash looked back in confusion. What's up, buddy? Pikachu pointed to the small hidden pathway that ran deep into the woods. Ash then recognized that it was the same path they took prior to the stun spore incident. Ash squatted down to Pikachu's level. "Hey, don't worry buddy, we won't be going in there again," he chuckled. Pikachu looked up to his trainer's face, not so convinced. "Besides, remember that I was given a special treatment of repellent to stun spore, so I won't have to go through that again." Pikachu smiled, while hopping up onto his shoulder to give him a warm nuzzle. "Pikachu Pikapi, Pikachu. I love you Pikapi, now let's go," squeaked the mouse. Ash compiled by continuing to run down the road where they can finally start their adventures once again. They both smiled at each other, knowing that it will take more than stun spore to break their fun. Wherever they are, and no matter what condition they're in, Ash and Pikachu will always be there for each other through thick and thin. Their bond will only grow and their exciting adventure will only get bigger as their journey continues. The end. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know your thoughts and reviews in the comment box. Now I will see you in the next video.